Hi, my loves. It is time for math again today. So, yesterday we learned all about perimeter. Today, I bet you can guess what we're going to learn about area. Okay, so we're going to start off by watching our song. Now, remember, I have a couple of songs you're supposed to learn today. One of them is not just today, this week. One of them is the Awubis song. Remember, you only have to memorize the Awubises. But the other one is this area and perimeter song because it's going to help you. I promise it's going to help you, and I'm going to memorize it too. So let's go ahead and get started watching it.
Welcome to my house. We can find the area. Multiply the length times width. We don't have to go out. Welcome to my house. Now we find perimeter. Take a walk outside and add up all the sides. Welcome to our house. Welcome to our house.
Okay, so what I really want you to get from this is welcome to our house. We can find the area, multiply the length times width, and then we can find a perimeter, take a walk outside it, add up all the sides. So perimeter is when you add up all of the sides, just like we learned yesterday. And you guys helped me figure out how much fencing I was going to need for my backyard. Do y'all remember that? So perimeter is when you add up all of the sides. And remember, if you don't know what one of the sides are, if it is a rectangle or square, it's going to be the same across. Okay, so perimeter, we add up all of the sides. Area is when we multiply length times width. So it gets a little bit more tricky with area. So let's go ahead and let's figure out, I have a new problem. So let's take a look at my backyard again. So I went home yesterday and I showed Mr. Simpson that you guys have come up with a plan that all we have to do is put fencing up. And that's all that we have to do. And then we get the backyard of our dreams. Well, Mr. Simpson is set. He does not want us to have the backyard of our dreams, I guess. I don't know. He actually just doesn't want to have to pay for everything because he's crazy. But Mr. Simpson gave me a new thing. He says, okay, you can have that backyard, but the backyard doesn't have any grass. So now, guys, I've got my fencing, right? Yesterday we made a decision and we figured out how much fence I'm gonna need. Let me show you that. Where did that paper go? Here we go. We found out that if I did, and you guys, this was some bonus tickets that you got here. So if I add up all of my sides, I would need 94 feet of fencing. And most of you already sent me that. So there you go. Good job. So I would need 94 feet of fencing. Now, Mr. Simpson is saying, you know what? We need some grass. Well, I need to figure out how much grass can fit in our whole entire backyard. And how do I do that, you say? I find the area. So area is length times width. So I would take the length of my backyard and I would take the width of my backyard and I would multiply them together. So I would do 32 times 15. And that will give me how much grass I'm going to need for the whole entire backyard. Now, guess what? Just like yesterday, whoever sent me that I needed 94 feet of fencing, they got extra credit, or they got 3 tickets. If you can tell me how much grass I need for my brand spanking new backyard to convince Mr. Simpson that we need this backyard, if you can solve how much I'm going to need, then send it to me in the chat. And if you get it correct, or send it to me in the inbox. And if you get it correctly, I will give you 3 more tickets. So let's see who can solve that. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our anchor chart for today. So area is the measure of space inside a shape. So that's why, in order to see how much grass I need, that's why I colored all of this in, because it's the inside of a shape. That's the area. Can you say area? So if you see words like carpet, if you see grass, that's all having to do with area. So let's take a look at this first shape. We have 6 inches on this side and 4 inches on this side. Notice there's something that you can do with area. If you have it on a grid paper, like this one is, or this one is represented, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares on one side and 1, 2, 3, 4 squares on the other side. So our formula for area is length times width. So for area, all I have to do is take my length, 6. So I'm going to go ahead and put length times width equals area. So I take my length, 6. I multiply it by my width, 4, and I will get 24. And this one is inches with a little 2 up there. So guess what? If I was to count up all of the squares in here, guess what I would get? Oh, y'all can't even see that pink. Oh, well. Guess what I would get? I bet you anything I would get 24. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Y'all know what this is like? An array. Do y'all remember learning about arrays? It's an array. So finding the area is very similar to finding the area like an array. If you remember those, you should be good. So you can either, for area, if it's on graph paper, you can count all of those squares, or you can just easily do length times width. I'm going to skip this one. This is an L-shaped one because we're going to learn about this next week a little bit more, and I don't want to confuse you any. So let's go and let's do some practice with finding the area. So let's start with this one. Solve for the area. You should know area is length times width. So when we find the area, multiply the length times width. Y'all should have that song memorized. So we'll do length 2 times the width, 8. So what is 2 times 8? 16. All right, so let's try this one. Now, guess what? This is a square. What do you know about a square? All sides are the same in a square. So 20, 20, 20, 20. So you can just do length times width, and it doesn't matter which one, because all you got to do is 20 times 20, because length times width. So if I do 2 times 2, this is my zeros trick. 2 times 2 is 4. And I add my 2 zeros, I get 400. So let's try another one. If I did this one, area equals length times width, what would I do? What 2 numbers am I going to multiply? I hope you said 11 times 5, length times width. So 11 times 5 is 55. So we've got 55 feet squared. Okay. So the hardest part about perimeter and area is figuring out in a word problem, which we'll do later, In a word problem, which one is which? Which one is asking me for perimeter? Which one is asking me for area? And we will do that later. All you have to remember is, like in our song, take a walk outside it. We can find perimeter. Add up all the sides. That's what that song tells you. And then area, we can find the area. Multiply the length times width. That's why I'm trying to get you to remember that song, because area is like, think of an area rug, like a rug. It covers the whole inside. And that's when we multiply the length times the width. When we get perimeter, all we got to do is add up all of those sides. Okay, guys, so let's look at what your assignment is today. You only have I marked off the wrong one. You have number 1 through 8. I don't know why I marked it off. I'm sorry. It doesn't look like this on your page, but you're going to do number 1 through 8. Don't let this confuse you. It's a square turned on its side. So you should remember area equals length times the width. So you're going to multiply the length times the width, and you're going to get the area. Here it gives you the length and it gives you the width. So you can draw a square or a rectangle if you want to and put 25 and 10. Or you can just multiply length times width and get your answer. So that is all you're doing. You don't have to do number 9 and you don't have to do number 10, but you have to find the area for number 1 through 8. Remember, area is length times width. All right, guys, if you want to watch that song, I'm going to post it right down below. Other than that, just find the area for all 8 of those problems. Bye.